Welcome to episode 11 of WordPlay Studios podcast, Design on Purpose. We have today somebody who we've been saying is going to join us, and we've got him, Nelson Ferreira.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be the first guest on Design on Purpose.
Welcome to Murwillumbah. Welcome to the shack.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, I must say, and it wasn't exactly what I thought it was. You know, when in my head the shack was something that was outdoors. You know, that like this thing that you build with your sink or whatever, and then I come in, I was like, oh, it's actually a room. Okay, sick. Yeah, no, it's pretty awesome. I like it.
Yeah, so it's a bit of there's a bit of a story behind the shack. Like the shack, this was where we moved into, well, not this version, but when COVID happened and we had to move out of our office and we moved into the back shed, the garden shed at our house. We ended up moving into this shack, which looked very much like this. We took all the measurements and then rebuilt it up here inside this room. So
yeah, a lot of people don't even realize we moved. They see the videos, you know, the podcast, and they're like, what? That's a different shack? We're like, yeah, we live in Murwillumbah.
You did a great job. I like it.
Yes, thank you. So, thank you for all the work that you've done so far, working with us, you know, getting this podcast moving and getting all the good clips and content out there. Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure. And as well, like I've told you guys many times by now, like I'm proud of what you guys have been doing. I think that's a lot of value on this podcast for people. And you guys are just getting started. So the more you do this, you'll become better hosts, better podcasters, you know. So I can't wait to see how far can we take Design on Purpose, and it's just going to keep getting better, you know.
Yes, that's right.
It's so good to have you there too, Nelson. Like, it's been really good just to have the feedback. And yeah, I guess I didn't really realize, it was so daunting just to get started with a podcast, but then having you there has been so helpful, like in terms of the feedback and just the little iterations that we've been making as we go. And even now, just we've had to obviously reset the shack up to have guests on. So there's all these little learnings and things. And yeah, like you're saying, like we are sure to get better every time, and we're definitely committed to improving.
Yeah, and that's why I say I'm proud, because everything I have told you that you need to adjust or change, you have implemented, and you can see then like, oh, so that's why, you know. Yeah. So if you compare episode 1 to this episode, you can see how much you guys have improved and how much everything just continues to getting better. You know, so by episode 50, it will be way more professional than what it is now. You know, you've been slowly making the adjustments, and yeah, so it's a bunch of different things that when you put them all together, it makes a difference. Just like anything in life, right? Like if you want to get it in shape, it's not just about working out. You need to adjust your diet. You need to quit alcohol. You need to quit smoking, get a decent rest, sleep. It's the same thing in anything you do in life, you know. Same thing with a podcast. You don't, like, it's hard to improve everything at once, but if you do it gradually and continually, eventually you'll have something that is way better than what it used to be.
Totally. It's definitely a iterative process. Like, and I think a lot of people get stuck with starting a podcast, like we, you know, and we've spoken about this on previous episodes about like what level of perfection or quality you're after to get the ball moving in the first place, when really you can start anywhere, right? Like the last few weeks of like, and probably you can empathize with this too, or understand, like going back on your favorite podcast and watching the like the very early episodes and going like, oh yeah, like it's actually really amazing to see the progression of these, like, you know, because you can actually see the steps of like, okay, it didn't start off like all high quality, or you know, it is really like a process of constantly evolving and constantly iterating and making it better episode by episode. So
Exactly. Yeah. And in a way, I was just having a talk yesterday with a good friend of mine, and we are currently obsessed with how are we gonna become ultra successful, not just in what we do by financially, especially financially. How are we going to become millionaires? I will be a millionaire. It's just a matter of time. But also, if someone were to come right now and tell me, he's $1 million, you have it, I'll feel so bad with myself because I'll be like, fuck, I couldn't earn it. It had to be given to me. That will destroy me. I couldn't accept it. Maybe a couple bucks to buy petrol, whatever. But, like, I couldn't accept it. Like, seriously, it will just be like, there's no glory in that.
Yeah.
I have friends that they everything has been given to them. They have been millionaires since they were born, just because they were lucky enough to be born in a wealthy family. There's nothing that these guys can tell me that they're doing that is going to impress me. Because in my head, it's like, yeah, it was given to you.
Yeah.
You didn't work for it. Like, so easy. That's so easy. If I give you $1 million, I know how to make exactly 2 million with that. Just invest, S&P 500, whatever. Like, there's so many easy ways to grow money when you have money. But when you don't have it and you have to earn it, that's when it tastes good. That's when the journey becomes interesting. That's a story worth telling. When I tell someone my story in years to come, with all the things I'm set to accomplish and all these things, and I tell them like, hey, I was an immigrant. I had to start my life from scratch on the other side of the world, had to learn a second language, could barely speak English when I first got there. I came with just enough money to pay my rent. I bought a bicycle that got stolen and I wanted to cry because I couldn't replace the freaking bicycle. I had to do all these jobs while I was a qualified dentist, being a bartender, doing, opening markets at 4 a.m. and finishing at 4 p.m., 12 hours straight, getting paid $18 an hour, which might sound a lot, but in Australia, that's nothing. When I tell all these things, dishwasher, bartender, delivery guy, while I was figuring out how to make videos on the side, when I tell this story, it's like that's going to be so tasteful. And when you become a millionaire, I believe from what I've heard from the self-made people have the pleasure to meet, that what makes it good, what makes it interesting, being a millionaire is having the juxtaposition of looking back and being like, fuck, I was so broke. I couldn't afford this. I would go to a restaurant and I had to keep in mind the price and all these things. So, I was telling my friend yesterday, because we are like, we're go-getters, and I'm so lucky to have someone like him in my life, because it makes your journey so much easier when you have someone that is on the same mindset. Like, how are we going to accomplish all the stuff that we want to accomplish? How are we going to become millionaires? How are we, do all these things that sound crazy to most people, and having someone that you can bounce those ideas with, and that is also putting the action, it just keeps the fire alive and going. And we were talking about that, and we were like, yeah, we're so happy to be in the position we are. Mm-hmm. I'm so happy that I have had to earn everything to be in the position that I am, and that I'm still far away from where I want to get. But I'm so excited to be on the journey. I wouldn't change my life for anything. Like, my life has been so interesting, and it's just gonna keep getting more interesting the more I continue to go. That's it. So
yeah. Yeah, I believe it. And it's the journey that shapes you too, isn't it? It's like, it's all part of it. And yeah, to receive it, if it was just put on the table for you, you would feel kind of cheated, because you don't get those learnings, you don't get those teachings, and you don't get to overcome those challenges, which kind of, develop you as a person. Yeah,
because what's the point of being a millionaire if the millions don't mean anything to you? It's really, because money is like like, what's $1 million? It's just a figure, right? But and even that's a label in a way. Like, by the who knows, with inflation and all this stuff, $1 million.
It's $1 million, and even that
it's like
much
we should
money.
probably be saying we want to be billionaires, but once you get to the million anyway, then it's like, what's next anyway? It's like because it's not about the $1 million, like you're saying, but it's about what that really means to you, and the knowledge and the experience and the problems and challenges you need to solve and overcome in order to make that a reality for yourself. And like, so much of it, like from our experience, it's like, you know, the easy part is doing the work. Like if you've got a business or whatever, like for you, I'm imagining it's the same, like, you know, editing, shooting a video, that's the easy part. But like the mental stuff is like the stuff that really holds you back, right? There's not having anyone to blame when shit's not going your way, why your you know, bank account's in whatever situation it is, or why, you know, you got no one to blame. And when you work in a company or for someone else, it's very easy to be more in like play the victim, or just kind of pass responsibility off to somebody else of why things aren't, you know, going the way you wish they would. But when you're an entrepreneur and you're doing your own thing, you know that you get used to just going, shit, like this is all me and there's no one that's going to help me get out of it apart from myself, apart from, you know, having good support around you. And that's also all up to you and your responsibility of choosing who you partner with, who you spend your time with, who you give your energy to. It's it's a full on process, isn't it?
Yeah. And being an entrepreneur / business owner, it's the hardest thing I've ever done. It's the hardest thing you could ever do, because that means your life and your salary and everything relies on being an entrepreneur and being a business owner, and your business and whatever you do, doing well. Everything is on you. There's no blame to put on someone else other than yourself. And the minute you realize that you start taking ownership with everything, that I take ownership for everything. I could have maybe a client that comes to me and is like really shitty client, you know, or they do something that messed the job or whatever. And I could always be like, it was the client's fault. I don't do that since it's been like 3 years since I made the decision, like, okay, everything falls on me. So even if, let's say, because it's so easy, the easy path is always to blame something else, someone else. You say, oh, it was the weather. Oh, this person forgot to do X. Oh, that person was being too lazy. Oh, I just happened to have a shitty client. He's in a bad mood. Man, when you do that, you're giving the power to that thing or that person over you, you know, so that now they control you. Now they're deciding what's the outcome in your life. Why would you do that? How do you get in control? You take ownership. That means you have to make sometimes hard decisions. Sometimes you will have to be critical with yourself and be like, okay, I made a mistake. Why did this happen? Why did I have a shitty client? Well, clearly I should have seen this before when I was doing the discovery of the job and realized that client and I are not a good fit. We're not a good match. So I shouldn't maybe got that client on board. Maybe I didn't do the right job debriefing and explaining what the job required. So that falls. There's always a twist way of blaming yourself. The weather was shit. I should have tried to get a different date. I should have been prepared for rain. There's always a twisted way of blaming yourself, of taking ownership. And that's what I do. Like, I don't and sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you run into situations. I'm not saying it's easy. Sometimes you run into situations and people that are fucking difficult to deal with, you know, and they make your life hard because they're miserable and they make other people miserable. You know, so sometimes it's hard, but what do you have to do? You fucking play the game and you take ownership and you do whatever you need to do in order to maneuver. And maybe that might be, you know, getting that person out of your life, or maybe that is, you know, if it's a bad housemate, moving out, if it's the wrong client, firing that client and moving to the next one. You know, like there's always a twist way of taking ownership of whatever you're doing.
And always something to be learned through the process too. All those things.
Yeah, it's like radical responsibility.
Exactly.
And I think, we've definitely had those learnings, and especially with branding jobs, you know, they go for so long. You become so close with the client over the process. And we're a lot more discerning these days around when we do meet with a client for an initial inquiry. A lot of that is also us interviewing them to make sure, you know, is it a good fit? Because we're not, the way that we work is not for everybody, because it's very, very collaborative, and we do go deep with our design process, and it can be quite confronting for a lot of people, because we do bring up a lot of other issues through
Shine light on the shadows kind of thing.
So yeah, people have to be ready for it, and yeah, we kind of have to make that clear early on and set expectations. So
yeah, and when we work together, what was the first thing we did before starting working together? We had a meeting, right?
Well, actually,
and
we were doing jiu-jitsu before that, and you were choking me out. But
yeah, I do remember that one too. No, but like we had a meeting, correct? And then instead of just being like, hey, this is what I could do for you or whatever, or this is how much I charge or whatever it is, I'm listening to what the client has to say.
Yeah.
But I need to discover what are the problems of the client. That's one of the best things I pull from my background of dentistry. So I'm a fully qualified dentist. And one of the things that we do when you get a patient, even if the patient comes and be like, oh, this tooth is really hurting or whatever, can you fix it? We don't go straight away to fix it. First, we have a look about everything in the mouth. We need to first diagnose. That's the same thing with almost any creative / entrepreneur job business that you're doing. You have to first diagnose the person. In that way, first you're building a relationship, you're connecting, you're understanding better what are the needs of the client, and then it's when you can offer what are the solutions or the way you can help, or if you're not the right fit for them. Because you also have to be able to identify when a job is not for you or a client is not a good fit for you, and hopefully refer them or, know someone that can do the right job for them. But yeah, like you first have to diagnose. I think that's a mistake that a lot of people do in our industry and like creatives in general, and especially filmmakers / photographers. They're like, people come to them, they're like, I need a video, a 1 minute video. How much you charge? And they will drop a fee for that. Oh, I charge X. It's like, you don't even ask why do they need the video? Why do they need the video from first? Yep. You guys came to me and you were like, basically it was, we need something. Okay, so why do you think you need something? And through questions, we realized like, okay, it seems like the best approach for you guys at this stage is to have a podcast. Look where we are now. So and
in the shack,
and and I told you there's so many things that could be done and all this stuff, but it all comes down to what exactly that client needs, and in order to find that, sometimes people come and they don't know exactly what they need. They just know they need something. Sometimes they're very clear. That's awesome. When a client comes and they're like, I'm having this problem. This is what's happening. This is what I need. Awesome. This is how I can help. But most cases, that's not what happens. They come, they don't know. Sometimes they have an idea, but they're too off. They don't know how exactly that's going to manifest into what you do, whatever your skills are. So yeah, almost anything you can think of, any job you can think of, it first requires that stage of diagnosing, or that's how I call it, or discovery, So ask the right questions and treat people like a human, like you will like to be treated. Like if you go to a store and you're looking for wheels for your desk, but we're just talking about that, I will prefer to buy from the guy that is coming to me, and when I tell him I need some wheels for my desk, and he starts asking, what kind of desk do you have? Why do you need the wheels? Have you looked at different wheels options?
Or why do you need to move the desk in the first place? Yeah.
Like, how's the space look? Do you have a photo of the space? Maybe I can, direct you better. Instead of going to the guy that is going to come, oh yeah, I have some here, $50.
Yep. There's no trust building in that process.
Exactly.
And it's interesting you talk about, like, you relate dentistry to business, which, clearly dentistry is a business, but it's not necessarily the first thing you think about. But it's a great analogy, because it's like, you kind of laying back there with your head back. They're coming out there sounding like you're at the mechanics, just like going into your mouth with your mouth open, and it's like quite scary. And it's like, but if you trust the person that's doing it, you're like, this is great. But if you're in a situation where, if the experience leading up to that process, you're questioning, is this even the right thing that they're doing? These sorts of things. And it's totally the same. That is totally the same with a lot of just kind of qualifying and identifying what problems are in any area of life or business.
And it's I like that the analogy of dentistry as well. It's because when you think about adults going to the dentist, most people hate the dentist. They have all had bad experiences with dentists since they were young and all this stuff. Imagine trying to convince a kid to let you in his mouth to do dental work. That is a challenge, let me tell you. And we had to do a lot of kids when I was studying at uni. You cannot bring a kid to the dental chair and be like, open your mouth, let me just drill your tooth. He's not going to do it. It's going to be a war. Before you get to the stage, you need to build the trust. You need to build the relationship. You need to make that kid feel safe, that knows that, okay, this guy, I might not like this, but I trust him. He's fun. Nelson always comes and makes me laugh, and he listens to me when I tell him my stories and all these things, and he's nice. He's always checking on me. Like, yeah, okay, I'll push through. Sometimes you will have a kid that you'll need to force it, but it's one of those things that I treat my clients just like that, almost like if it was a kid, it's like listen to them, like ask questions, build a relationship, and things that you cannot imagine will come out of that.
Yeah. We definitely felt that way. We felt so held and safe going through this process because you were there, and almost I felt even more responsibility to not let you down because you invested so much energy into us, and I wanted to make sure that we're going to commit and get going, for ourselves, but even more so because you're there,
That's it. Accountability too, isn't it? And like the way that you approach it's like we call you coach as a joke, but it's also like true, like you're like coaching us and we can get into that too, because you're coaching from a place of experience too. You're not just like, just magically know how to, create a podcast and things like that. Like you've gone through this process yourself, and you're actually passing on that knowledge to us and sharing your learnings. So then we can, make the most out of every time that we get in here, we're getting, the most value out of it as possible. So what do you want to share a little bit about that, like your podcasting journey and what?
I'll give a quick brief of who I am for people that don't know, have no idea. So I'm Nelson, Venezuelan. 29 years old. I've been in Australia for almost 6 years now. In September will be 6 years. Basically back home, I studied dentistry, became a dentist, worked as a dentist for 1 year because of the situation of Venezuela, it's dictatorship, bullshit, and all these things. Everyone is fleeing the country. So at that stage, I was looking for options. My mom actually was the one that suggested Australia. It was a country that had everything I liked: adventure, nice weather, surfing, and all these things. So yeah, that's how I landed here. Move everything and move to the other side of the world because of the economy that is so. As a dentist, to give you an example, I was making like $80 a month. Due to the exchange and all these things, it was roughly like $80 a month. That's nothing.
In Venezuela?
Yeah. So I would be able to, have a little bit of fun or go out or whatever, but I couldn't travel. I couldn't afford to change my car. It's impossible to buy a house. You'll need to wait for your parents to die to get the house kind of thing. Like everything seemed like too far, and so... Australia came up in the plans. So I came here. I could not speak English, virtually nothing.
Wow.
I can't even imagine that.
It's freaking hard, especially when you come to a place where I did have some basic, just because of listening to music, and I had some family in the States. So sometimes you pick up stuff, and we watch movies with subtitles, so you kind of have, a little bit of ear with it, but nothing for writing. And obviously I haven't had this conversation aspect of it. So I can't put a sentence that makes sense, and then you come to Australia and people in here also is very hard to understand.
It's a whole different English.
You know, like as soon as I thought it was going to be, hello, how are you? Good, and you? This, how are you, mate? You know, like stuff like that. That is...
Tell you how you're not good,
Fernando.
not bad.
Ain't not bad. Good, eh? Yeah, it's like, what?
Don't open the mouth either. Like our friend Fernando, he's Brazilian. He was like, "How are you, mate? How's it going?"
yeah, it's
Like
hard. That. It was hard, you know. As soon as I got here, I'm like, shit, this is gonna be a long journey, you know. And I came here with no one, had absolutely no one, but one referral. A friend that I told her back home, oh, I'm going to Brisbane and all this stuff. She's like, I have a friend there. Do you want me to put you in touch? She puts me in touch with this guy. His name is Sebastian. Till this day, he's my best friend, Venezuelan as well, living in Brisbane.
Wow.
And, you know, that Sebastian was a huge impact in that way. Like I came to Brisbane, to the other freaking side. When I'm telling you, it's the other side of the world. It's literally the other side of the world. And now you're so scared. You know, I come with a little camera that I just bought because I decided I wanted to document more my life or whatever, and document this corner of the world, show people how it is. And
with no plan to be a videographer at that stage?
No, not at all. I was looking at YouTube. I was like, I was looking at these people that they were making a full-time living. It blew my mind. I was like, how are these people making a living traveling and doing whatever they want, and they get paid for this? Brands pay for this? Millions of people watch this? And something told me I could be doing that. I have what it takes to do that. But I just invested into a camera. At that point, I've just had a couple GoPros, which I learned how to make a video back home, just, you know, like how to put a rough video together with my little GoPro, you know, and documenting my surfing, taking photos on my little adventures and stuff like that. And I loved it. So before getting to Australia, I bought a camera with a microphone. And it was, I remember being in the camera store, and, you know, it was like $500 or something. And it was like, this is millions, you know, that I'm putting into this. And it was with the help of my family that were helping me to invest into it. And then it was an option with just the camera or the combo with the microphone. And it was like $100 different. But to me, that was millions, you know, like I need, because this is part of the money that I'm going to use before getting to Australia. And I was with a friend, and he looked at me. I'm like that, looking at the two cameras. I'm like, shit, what should I do? That's $100. That's a lot. And then my friend comes to me and he's like, well, I think it's very easy. Are you gonna be talking to the camera? If you're gonna talk to the camera like a YouTuber or something, you should get that one. And in my head was, yeah, I can be a YouTuber. Yeah, so I got that camera, you know. And then after that, I land in Brisbane. This guy that doesn't know me, Sebastian, comes and picks me up. It's the first time we're meeting in person. We have just talked through WhatsApp, and he's like, oh, actually, I can take some time in the morning and go pick you to the airport. So cool, you know, because also knowing Sebastian these days, I'm like, he wouldn't do that for anyone. So I'm always puzzled why he did it for me. You know, it was funny. Yeah, different stages of life as well, you know. But he came, we met, and then he's like, you can stay in my couch for a few days, because I had some accommodation, but not for the first days. Go stay in the couch. He takes me to the bank to open a bank account, helps me get like a phone and all these things. You know, and fast forward, I realized so something critical happened as well. Like I lost my best friend back home the week before coming to Australia. So it was one of those moments where the hamster wheel stops, you know, like many times I think a lot of people are trapped into the hamster wheel of like working, you know, a job they hate, finding a partner that they don't really love, trying to get debt and buy a house because everyone else is doing it and all these things, just because they don't have a critical moment in their life that stops the hamster wheel to put them in check if that's what they want to do in reality, and it's not what society has put into them that's what they should do. So to me, losing my friend My friend was same age, super handsome dude, got girls, got friends, got a lovely family, dentist as well, an athlete, all these things. Gone from one day to another. Gone. I wake up and my dad is coming to the room and he's waking me up. And as soon as my dad hasn't done that since I was a kid, coming to the room and sitting down and patting me and then waking me up. I knew something really bad had happened. Next thing, gives me the news, awful weeks after that. And that's a week before I go into the biggest journey of my life, going to the other side of the world. Obviously, that's stuck with me. I don't even have time to process. I need to pack. I need to do this. I need to do that. Say goodbye. All these things. So much shit is happening. I landed in Australia. There's no time to stop. I need to find a job. I have very little money. I need to attend to my classes. I need to learn English. I need to still train because I need to expel this energy, all this stuff. But it was one of those moments where I was like questioning everything. Because then first I started with, why do people talk about a God? Where is that God when someone like this guy that is just doing good in the world, it's gone like that? Why is the dictatorships in the country still in the power? Why do they get to do whatever they want? Why is there people being raped right now as we have this conversation? Why is there people being killed right now? All these things. And then he gets to take this person. And people like to use the phrases like, oh, it was time to get him because he's an angel, it's time. It's like, no, it's just life, I don't know. That's the way I see it. And I respect whatever people want to believe. But to me, it was like first started with religion. And then it started like, okay, let's say that happens to me tomorrow. Because there's nothing preventing. I eat healthy. I rarely drink. I don't do any drugs or anything that's going to kill me. I'm very disciplined. I get my sleep, all this stuff. And even then, I could die today. I could leave this podcast and get into an accident and die. That's a reality. Some things are simply out of your control. So if that happens and I get to wherever you go after you die and someone plays a movie of my life and they're like, okay, this is your life. You studied dentistry. That's it, buddy. You went to school, you studied dentistry, made a few friends along the way. Yeah, you saw some girls, whatever. What else? Yeah. Oh, you made it to Australia, but you die now. It's, and I look at it, I'm like, I was okay. Let's say now that I got to live way longer, to 90, and I got to pursue dentistry just like I planned and all this stuff. And I became the best dentist in the world. I accomplished everything that it was to accomplish in the dentistry field. And money's not a problem. I have dental clinics around the world. Everyone in dentistry knows me. Whatever. Would that be a life that I would be proud of? And the answer was no. I was like, no. What? How boring. How freaking boring. That's what I did? No, take me back. I need to restart, So to me, like that was the moment that made me question everything around my life. Okay, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Why do I want to be a dentist? And then you start going back. When did I make the decision to become a dentist? Oh, wait. So the system is what fucked me up. So when I was 17, I was pushed by everyone around me that I needed to decide what I wanted to become for the rest of my life. I needed to decide by 17 years old what I was going to study. Because you're going to university. And if you don't go to university, everyone thinks you're going to fail. Everyone thinks you're going to end up in the streets. Everyone thinks that you're not worthy. Every parent will be like, ooh, Nelson, no, don't get it. No, just stay in here because Nelson is lost in life. He doesn't even know what he wants to study. That's the reality. That's how people look at you, at least in South America in general. I don't know in here. And then, I was just like, okay, so clearly it was pushed to me that I needed to make a decision. I was sucked at numbers, all these things. I saw my cousin, he was making a lot of money and everyone loved him in the family. He was very charismatic and he was a dentist. That's why I chose dentistry, because to me, it was like, okay, if I become a dentist, I will become something like him. People will care and the family will be proud and whatever. So when you start piecing it, like breaking down piece by piece, then you can make adjustments, because now you understand. Now you have it. I saw the movie. This might sound stupid, but I saw the movie Matrix recently. I haven't seen that movie ever. I knew what it was about and all this stuff, but I never saw the actual movie. I saw it like a few months ago, and that was the perfect analogy and explanation to what this all is about. Like the way I've seen life for 6 years now, that movie made it so clear. It's such a good example. Once you see the glitch in the matrix, once you see that everyone is trapped in this thing and just a few people made it out, you have to make a decision. You either stay in the matrix or you find a way out. I've been pushing to find a way out since 6 years ago, because I realized, like, fuck, everyone around me pushed me to become a dentist, when that's not exactly what I was put in this earth to do. That's not what I want to do. That's not my passion. Yeah, I'm good at it. I'm happy with it. That doesn't mean I was unhappy doing this dentistry. That's what I tell people. I was pretty happy with it, and I was nothing but great at dentistry. That's the reality, because I put in the work. After coming out of school, I sucked at school. I was very average, just getting by, and eventually I realized if you actually apply yourself and you put the hard work, you can be at the top. There's nothing that can stop you. Like when you go to university or school, it's not that hard to be at the top. You just have to continue to put the hard work for a long period of time. And that's it. That's what I did. And I came out of best number 6 out of 200 people. The only man in the top 10 of the entire 200 people of my promotion of dentistry. You know, but you know, that's why I say, like, also I wouldn't change it, because doing that dentistry was what got me here. So I don't regret it at all. But I realized that the system is clearly fucked. Like the system is not right for everyone. It's not right for me. It might be right for someone else. But once you realize that there is a system put in place to keep people average, you have to make a decision. If you either stay in the system or you get out. I made the decision 6 years ago that I don't want to be average. I want to accomplish shit that is more bigger than me, that I want to accomplish whatever dream and goal I set off to do, because there's nothing that can stop me. I literally started with no English on the other side of the world. And I've earned my place here through hard work. I get paid to do what I love, and I will become a millionaire. There's nothing that will stop me from getting there. And I will provide for my family, for my sister, for my partner, for my friends. I will show everyone that comes from the same place or even worse than me that anything is possible. I'm not the prettiest guy. I'm not the smartest guy. I'm not the tallest guy. I'm not the strongest. I'm not the fastest. I'm nothing special. There's nothing special about me other than I will be the hardest worker in the room. That's it. I will outwork anyone that is on the line to get to where I want to go. That's it. Like, you don't need to be special. A lot of people think like, oh, there's something special about me or whatever. There's nothing special about you. What about Tom? What about Rix? What about, all these people? What about the guy that is the little kid in Indonesia, that it just survived drowning from a tsunami or whatever, He's special too. Everyone's special. Like, there's nothing special about you. You have to create a special life for yourself to separate from, being trapped in the matrix with everyone else. So yeah, basically that's how I got to understand that I didn't want an average life, and I made the decision that I was going to do everything in my power to get to whatever I want to go and whatever I want to accomplish. And I when I say I want money and I want to be a millionaire, it's not just for the sake of money, because this is another thing that the system does. When you realize this, a lot of things will change the way you see money and the way you see the world. What's the story we're told most people? Money's bad. You don't need to want money. If you want money, that's bad for you. That doesn't look good.
Greedy.
Shame.
You're too greedy. You shouldn't think about money and all these things. And it's like, mate, everyone that is a millionaire is living a great life out there and they care about money and they learn everything about money, you know. And I used to be like that. I used to be like, oh, you know, I don't want money. And, you know, and then when you get it's almost like getting a new set of eyes. When you get the new set of eyes and you're like,
the glasses come off. Yeah.
Wait, what? I was just telling that my friend yesterday as well, man, like, do you ever think that some people, rich people, whatever, or people with influence and power, they almost live in like a different dimension than all of us. The rules don't apply to them. You know, if I get a fine today, that will almost ruin my day. I'll be like, freaking out, I made a mistake, you know, and it might be $200, whatever it is, $300. And you're like, fuck, I'm so stupid. What do you do? What does a rich person happens when they get a fine? Like, oh yeah, pay it. I'll still speed or whatever I want to do. You know, it's almost like rules don't apply to them. You know, COVID.
It's just an expensive living. No.
Yeah, you know, like
driving fast cars,
pandemic and all this stuff. The countries are closed. Some people are still flying on the jets and all these things. You know, like.
Well, yeah, there's millionaires and then there's people, you know, then there's billionaires and then there's, you know,
people outside that live outside the system.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to live outside the system. That's why I'm on the path. And it's also not for me, because in the end, we're all dust, just like my friend. We're all going to leave, unfortunately, at some stage. It might happen today. It might happen tomorrow. It might happen in the next month. Who knows? We all have an expiry date. And that's what makes it fun as well, that you don't know how long you're going to be able to be walking on the floating rock, you know. So, because imagine if I tell you tomorrow you will be gone in a month. That will either destroy you and be like, what's the point? I don't want to live. I don't want to do anything because I'm dying anyways. Or it will make you act in outrageous ways, you know, and do stupid, silly things because you're like, no, I'm gone in a month. I need to do all the stuff that, you know, I haven't done, being able to do. Yeah, exactly. So what makes it fun is not knowing how long you're going to be here. And that's why you need to, that's why I put importance in the things that I do every day. Yeah. So I don't know how long I'll be here, but I tell you something, since I made that switch from pursuing what society wanted me to pursue my passions and the things I believe I'm here to do, my life has changed to and presented opportunities that I never couldn't even fathom, you know? And if I die today, this is a thing that I come back almost every week. If I die today and they play my movie till now, would I be proud of what I've been doing and the things that I was set to accomplish? And, you know, like if I look my movie till now, it had a massive change in the past years. I can tell you I'll be in peace because that guy there with the hat every day was waking up at 5 a.m. to pursue the thing that he loved, regardless of how many people doubt him, regardless of people call him crazy, or people told him that he was not going to accomplish some of the things that he was said to accomplish or whatever it is. I will be so damn proud of that guy because he went against the current and he did everything for what he was believing he was here to do. So do I want to die? I don't want to die. I'm still very far from all the things that I want to do. I want to do a lot of good in the floating rock. I want to be a provider, like I say, not just for my family, not just for friends, but for people just like me that they needed a role model or someone to show them like, hey, anything is possible. So I want to live a long life, a long, healthy life, because that's the other thing. When you start breaking it up, a lot of people get to maybe success or financial freedom or whatever in, you know, broken. You know, they didn't take care of their sleep, they drink too much, or they have some sort of bad habit that kills them in the next 3 years, so they didn't get to enjoy accomplishing all this stuff. Yeah. I want to get there in the healthiest way possible so I can maximize that. I'm trying to get there as quick as I can, but just because I want to maximize that, having all those tools, because in the end, that's tool. Money is nothing but a tool. That's it. So yeah, basically that's who Nelson is.
Awesome. Well, there's, I guess, I'd like to know, and for people out there, I guess, like, what have you, like since arriving to Australia, like you told some of it there, but like what journey has that taken you from until Vibes Creative right now, which is your company, right? You know, because you said you landed with a camera, and we mentioned that you have some podcasting experience. You've mentioned YouTube too. You know, there's a few different, and dentistry. There's like so many different like kind of parts here. You know, how are you now where you're at with Vibes Creative?
So the first thing when I got here, that's why it's very important to be clear with what you want in life, because I realized most people like me, they were, and when I say like me, like immigrants, there was a group of people that were very distracted. So many distractions in Australia, like pretty people, all this stuff, like partying and all access to drugs and all this stuff. There's a lot of freedom. People are very open-minded, so it's easy to lose track. You know, that I've got to see a lot of kids of 18, 19 that came from different countries that they were just...
Well, Aussies too, man.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Completely lost, you know, just having fun, living in the moment. Luckily, I came here with 23. So I had the parties, I had all the fun stuff I did when I was in university, when I was back home. So when I came to Australia, it was time to work. Like I saw this is my only chance to earn a place in a different side of the world. And as soon as I came here, I fell in love with it. I remember vividly coming on one of the first days, I arrived in Australia in Brisbane, in Kangaroo Point, the little lookout that overlooks the entire city. Man, I cried. I was like, I can't believe I'm here. Nobody knows me. Nobody literally knows who I am. I don't even know anyone here but Sebastian that I just met, and I get to build whatever I want to do. I can become anything I want. So to me, you know, that was a day that I can always remember very vividly, you know, because it felt like a blank slate, you know, like I can do anything right now. So,
freedom.
And the first thing was like, okay, if I want to me, the biggest thing first was earning my place here, getting a residence and all this stuff. How am I going to do that? Well, first I need an English, because if I don't learn how to speak English properly, we couldn't even be talking right now. We wouldn't be friends because you couldn't communicate with me. You know, if I want to fit in this society, I need to be able to communicate with that society. So I literally, okay, I'm not going to live with anyone that speaks Spanish. I'm not going to spend too much time with people that speak Spanish. You know, like I force myself, okay, I'm going to read. I'm going to start reading books. I'm going to watch movies now with the subtitles in English, all this stuff. I'm going to do just jobs that require me to speak English. Not going to work with anyone that speaks Spanish. So I slowly were working through it while figuring out that I loved making videos. Mm-hmm. And I saw all these people, like I said, all the YouTubers and stuff. I'm like, I could be doing that. I feel like I could show people on the other side of the world how is life in here in Australia. So I started making like silly YouTube videos, not much intention other than sharing how's life in here and what am I doing here and my family to see them and friends and whatever.
What years did you start doing this?
2016.
16, okay.
So I started doing that. At the same time, I started working in hospitality, all these things, making just enough money, whatever, but I wouldn't party. I wouldn't, like, very rarely. But when I first got here, yeah, I did a couple parties here and there because it also, you know, you get wrapped into the English school because a lot of people just come for 6 months, a year, and they just want to have fun, you know. So I went to parties, but I will go and not spend a single dollar. Like I will go to when it's free to entry. I will ride my bicycle so I wouldn't have to catch a bus or whatever, and then leave early enough to wake up early for either work or make videos or learn how to put a better video together. Eventually, I've saved enough money to buy more equipment, all this stuff. And I just kept doing my YouTube videos, and eventually someone sent me a text like, hey, how much you charge for videos? I'm like, what? People are going to pay me for this? Someone's going to pay money for me to make a video. I love making videos. Why would you pay me for it? You know? And I charged for that $100, my first video. That's crazy when I look back into it. And I
Probably,
went, I
that
did the
person
video.
probably got the best $100.
It felt so good. It felt so good. And I was getting paid 18, 19 in hospitality. So it was almost like, fuck, that was like more than 5 hours of work, you know, and I just got paid by using my camera. What? And that was so much fun. I don't have to break my back as well. We compared to hospitality, people, an angry, miserable manager yelling at me for silly stuff. Like, you know, so that was already like a big milestone for me, like understanding like, holy shit, I can make money with this thing. So I just kept getting better. Then, you know, another $50 job happened, then another $100 job, and another. And eventually I saved enough money just to be like, I was seeing all these guys traveling with cameras and documenting their travel. I'm like, I want to do that. I want to know what that feels. So I went traveling for around Asia, went to Europe as well. I did a big trip and I did it with my camera and I filmed everything and took photos and all this stuff. And I started sharing more of what I was doing. Eventually that landed me like a job. Someone was like, oh, hey, we need a job here. So, you know, we need someone to travel here and do a video. I'm like, yeah, I can do that, you know. So crazy stuff started happening because of pursuing my passion. Eventually, I came back and remember, like every time I went travel, I needed to quit my place where I was living because I couldn't afford rent and be traveling. And also because of my visa, I couldn't travel for as long as I wanted, especially my passport as well. I could go for a set amount of time, whether it's 3 weeks, 1 month, depending on how, what exactly was the time frame with classes and all this stuff. But I will quit all my jobs and then grab my camera, my best friend, and we went traveling. And then I'll come back, no home, nor anything, just my bag, clothes, my camera, my computer, and find another place to live, get in a room, same thing. We did that like 3 or 4 times. And I remember my best friend traveled with me, not Sebastian, another one, Pili, and she traveled with me to every trip. And when you find someone like a friend that is a ride or die, I remember so vividly. I was like, fuck, I want to travel so bad and I saved some money. I can do it right now. There's nothing stopping me 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And I'll look at him, but I had to quit my job because they wouldn't accept me, especially in hospitality. Like my biggest asset was that they would call me at any time and I will go work. They could call me anytime. I was working from Monday to Sunday. And I had a couple different jobs, and they knew when we need someone, we call Nelson. That guy is hungry ass. You know, he will come and he will get the job done. Yeah. That's why they love me. But if I at any point I was like, hey, I need to, I want to travel, they'll be like, there's no job for you then. You know, like because someone else will take it, and it doesn't work, especially in hospitality. Oh, yeah. They're super busy in December, holidays, and all this stuff. So I'll look at my friend and be like, should we go to Japan? And she'll look at me and be like, what do we do with it? We quit. Man, and we did that like 3 times. That taught me that you can always restart, that you shouldn't be afraid of restarting, you know, because every time it was scary. It never got easier. Yeah. I just got braver, you know, because every time I'll look at my bank account, if I go travel, we're going to spend somewhere around here. That's not even accounting that eventually we need to come back, find accommodation. We need to leave our stuff with some friends, all this stuff, like all the hassle that comes with traveling. But I still did it. And I'm so happy I took all those risks because that told me a lot about filmmaking, travel filmmaking, creating content on the go, showing people, you know, what I was doing. Traveling also helps you reframe everything that you think you know about life and learning about yourself and all these things that are very deep and you can only learn almost traveling. And then came back, same thing, always the same thing, going back to hospitality and working how to figure out the video side of things. Eventually pandemic happens. I was doing fairly, so just before the pandemic, I I said, this is what a lot of people fall into this trap. They're like, I'll save X amount of money and then I'll quit my shitty job. And then I'll pursue my passion and all these things. I was in that trap. I was like, I would save $20,000 or whatever I said back then that I was going to do. And I was very far from it. And then I'll quit my job because that will allow me to afford my living for like a year, 2 years, whatever, and figure things out. Eventually, you make plans, but life has different plans to you. Another life-changing moment happened. I lost a very dear person of mine back home, a family member that was very important in my life. And I got the call. My mom tells me, I break down again, and it's another moment to stop the hamster wheel. Okay, why am I waiting to get X amount of money in the bank to quit these shitty jobs? How long can I go with the money I have right now? Okay, it was like three months, something like that, or maybe a bit less. What's the point? Like, what's gonna be different? Because now, if I keep waiting, maybe my dad dies in the next 6 months. Maybe something that I get run by a truck. You know, whatever it is. There's no perfect time. The perfect moment doesn't exist. You will make plans, and life will throw something at you that we're not expecting. I remember literally, I got the call, sit down, broke everything down. I'm like, okay, clearly, I need to take more risk. That's it. I need to make the jump right now. Call my manager, same day. And I crying, I told her what happened. And I said, I need to quit. I need to pursue my passion. She was crying on the other side of the phone. She was the best manager I've had to this day, because I'm never planning on having another manager. But she was so lovely, and she knew that I was set to accomplish this thing of making a full-time with videos. And she just started crying and told me, I understand, and I wish you the best with it. That's it. Next day, I just became my own boss, you know,
That's
and you don't think about it that way. Because in my head, it was like, I'm gonna make videos, but I'm not realizing I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a business owner now. It never clicked, and it took a while for me to click. So next day, I'm just moving my ass, posting as much as I can so people know that I'm making videos and all this stuff. Eventually, I got a few jobs here and there, making a little living. Pandemic happens. Everything goes to shit. And guess what? I don't get support because I'm not an Australian. So I don't get money from the government. My housemate is chilling. He's like, oh, pandemic, yeah, awesome. And he's getting money. He's getting paid to stay at home. You know, like me, I'm just draining my savings. Literally, I think it was like more than 6 months without a single job. I was like draining everything. And waking up and just doing cheap grocery shopping, had to cancel everything. I was trying to spend very little money on my living just because I was like, I just need to wait. This will happen. Eventually this will happen. Things will get better, whatever it is. It wasn't quite like that. And then you actually met my friend Maddie. My friend Maddie, we happened to meet through another friend doing a job, actually traveling and making videos and all this stuff. And we just connected super well when we met. And we were talking one day, and he's like, you should move down to the coast. That was my plan, because I knew Brisbane was just a stepping stone. I'm more like a outdoors person, beach kind of stuff and all these things. And he said like, man, what better time than now? You don't have clients right now. You don't have work, whatever. Like, there's nothing. My best friend, Pili, she left the country as well. So it's not really anything that is attaching me to Brisbane. And he said, I'll get you to live with me, and I'll give you a month free rent. With that month free rent, I managed to buy a very cheap car, the car that I still have to this day, because that car is the most reliable thing I've had to this day. It's just as reliable as me. And, you know, like, I moved down to the coast with him, starting again from scratch. Not a single client, just Maddie and maybe one more other person that I met down here. And that was over 2 years ago now. And still waking up every day by myself, being, figuring out all this business kind of thing. That's even then I still didn't understand I was a business owner. And eventually, again, things start happening. People are saying like, "Oh, can you do this job?" Yeah, I can do that. Can you do this? Yes. Word of mouth, all this stuff. And eventually I had to find a different place, because also like staying with my friend was to be a stepping stone as well. Moved out, just started pursuing my passion like crazy. Like I've worked the past 3 years, man, like I've never worked in my life. I swear, like it way harder than anything else I have done in my life. Because also you wake up, you were mentioning the mental aspect. That's the hardest thing. Putting the work, that's easy. But forcing yourself every day. I wake up at 5 a.m. every day. Getting out of bed, the reason I do it is because first, it keeps reinforcing my discipline. Second, at 5 a.m., there's nobody that can bother me. Everyone is asleep. Third, it gives me a mental edge above everyone else that is pursuing the same thing that I'm pursuing. Because I'm not the only one that wants to have a successful business, or the only one that wants to be a content creator, or the only one that wants to be a millionaire. There's another 1,000 Nelsons out there that just like me, that look exactly like me, that have the same capabilities as me, that they want the same dream.
The teeth might not be as nice though.
It might not be as nice. They might not even be wearing a hat. They might not have my accent, but they want this very bad. So they're putting the hard work. So if I wake up at 5, that gives me the mental edge, like, these motherfuckers are still sleeping. I'm here putting the work. I'm here in my chair. I don't want to be here. I want to be in bed. It's not like I'm excited to get out of bed, but I'm doing it anyways. And, so like, dude, it has been nonstop. And I can tell you, the first year, nothing big came out of it. 2 years, maybe a little bit. But now things are paying off. And that's why also, like, you have to play the long game. In my head, I had someone recently that came to me, and she was like, we know each other maybe from 4 or 5 years. And she's like, "Oh, so you're not a millionaire yet? You haven't accomplished the things. Where are the million subscribers? Where are all these things?" And she told me all this stuff. And I'm like, "Oh, good. I'm still on track." Yeah, that was a great reminder. I'm so proud of myself that I haven't derailed, that I'm still on track. And the reason why you will never be a millionaire, and the people around us right now won't be millionaires, is because they're lost. They don't even know what they want. They don't have a clear vision of what they want and how are they going to get there. And that's fine. And it might take me a month. It might take me 5 more years. It might take me 10. I'm prepared for the long term. I'm here. I say I want to be a millionaire before 35 and all this stuff. And it's very realistic at this pace. It's going to happen. If it doesn't happen exactly how I want it, because like I said, life has different plans and I have to wait longer, that's fine. I'm here for the long term. I'm not going to die any soon. Yep. If I keep taking care of myself. Something might change that, but I'm doing everything in my power to be alive when that happens, and make sure that happens as fast as it can happen.
Well, yeah, that's definitely something you like. Well, I reflect on anyway. It's like the amount of times you want to give up in when things get hard, but you just don't. You can't. There's no other option. But but that's why so many businesses fail. That's why, like you were saying, the podcast. Most don't get past 7, because once you get going, shit never goes to plan. It never goes. The money doesn't come when you need it, or when you're wanting it or expecting it. Everything, and that's just what life's about. And business particularly. When you take responsibility for everything that you're doing, it's not easy. It's like really becoming, it's like a whole nother way of living, a whole different context. And people that aren't living in that context, like if they're your family or partners or friends or whatever, they just don't understand. It's like you're talking different languages.
There's no, like, it's make or break, isn't it? Because you wouldn't live your life any other way. You kind of, if you're passionate about something and you're set on something and you've got the resilience to get up and get on with it no matter what gets thrown at you. You're going to be successful at some point, because it's just a matter of time. It's a numbers, you're showing up, you're putting in the work, you're building the relationships, you're making the sacrifices. So every time you do that and you build that discipline and you flex that muscle, you're putting the odds in your favor. So it's going to happen.
Man, if I don't know a single human that has dedicated his life for 5 years to a single thing and hasn't gotten nowhere.
Yeah.
There's none. I can assure anyone watching this, if you are passionate about tables and you commit yourself to learn everything about tables and do tables and keep practicing and meet other people that are doing tables and how are they succeeding selling tables, how to reach the right market for tables, in 5 years' time, I can assure you, you will have something. Whether it's that some tables sold, some money out of it, the biggest business of tables in the world, whatever it is. But to me, it was just like this. It's just 1 + 1. If I wake up every day at 5, I put in the work. That's why there's no way. I seriously think like I'm so far ahead from most people that make videos like me. I'm not saying I'm at the top, because I clearly have way to go and people that I need to catch up and whatever. But I'm above most of the people in my industry already. How can that not be true when I wake up every day at 5 and the only thing I do is freaking make videos? I'm either shooting or editing or networking or learning or studying the game, my craft. How can I not be great at making videos? It's literally it's like
someone you're passionate about it more so probably as like, I guess other people are passionate about it too, but when you've got that like fire and that like it's like same with us.
Venezuela.
It's like you just we love what we do so much, we won't let like it's just like it's just what we do, it's like no one's going to take it from us, and we're going to go and make it happen for ourselves as well. It's like it's that kind of mentality, or it's just, but it's natural and everyone has, I believe everyone has that, like something within them that is that for themselves, whether it's a job or a hobby, something that actually is like what they love, like you do without getting paid. You'd spend all your time, you're just genuinely curious and inspired to just learn and develop in this field or in this way. And it might not be forever either, it might just change, but it's like, everything kind of, it leads you to the next. It's not, you're like you're saying at the beginning of this, it's like the system doesn't tell you that, at school or whatever. It's like, get a job, follow, base your life on your parents or whatever bar is set for you, and there you go. That's your parameters of life. But if we're all taught like, what are you, or actually if school or life facilitated you to discover your passion and your purpose and what you really are here to do with your life, because everyone is here for a reason. Imagine what kind of world would be created, what kind of business would be getting done, what kind of state would be living in.
I think allowing yourself or giving yourself permission to play, like that's something that we talk about often too. And it's like being forced into making a decision early on before you've even had an opportunity to do a scan or explore or to try things and work out what you like or what you don't like. You're going to end up on a path that is not really suited to you, and more times than not.
Yeah, and it's like and just going back to like being so hungry and like passionate about something and alive. It's like being alive though. Like if you're living in a tribe or something, you're out there, like you need to hunt, you need to gather, you need to, look after your environment. A fucking storm's going to come, rip through the village. You got to repair that shit. You're like living, you are living in responsibility with yourself and your community. We don't live like that anymore. Everyone's just like hanging out. Yeah. Comfort. Everything's comfortable, cushy job, nice paycheck, easy, go home, scroll, whatever. But never really tap into like that real essence of being human. And that's kind of like what entrepreneurship or starting a business or whatever you want to call it kind of facilitates or like brings out in somebody, is that like survival, like mentality, which is like natural to us as humans. You know, we're here to and not survive and like, trying to survive. It's like surviving, you know, like living, thriving and living in this like harsh environment, but like working with it to, you know,
man, I seriously believe that anyone that is thinking like, oh, I'm actually here just for the ride or whatever, and you should seriously question your life. Why are you like that? Why are you so lazy? Why you don't want to get stuff done? Why you don't want to accomplish? I'll tell you why. Because you're scared. Because if you set out to conquest, to achieve things that are bigger than you, that's scary. It is very scary. When I had to make the decision to jump,
and people tell you it's not going to work, you know, it's scary because people even tell you the odds aren't in your favor. You know?
Everyone questions you,
and they're going to prove you wrong. Yeah.
Everyone as well, because guess what? Everyone is trapped in the freaking system. So if you talk to someone that is trapped in a 9-to-5 that they hate, they chose the wrong partner, and now they have a baby to them, and they feel like they're fully forever attached to that person, and their lives suck. When you come to them, you're like, hey, I have this dream, and I think I could do it. I want to do this, and I want to become a millionaire. What is he gonna sell? What is he gonna tell you? He's going to tell you it's not possible. He's going to laugh because he's reflecting. Like, he's like, I'm not doing it. Why would you do it? You know, like
come back to the comfort.
Yeah. Stay in real life, buddy, whatever. And your real life sucks. I don't want your real life. And this is another thing. Like why do people, I never understand this. Why do people listen to people that they don't admire, they don't respect? Like, so many people, they get all moved and mad at when someone that is a loser, a literal loser, comes to them and be like, hey, buddy, you're not going to accomplish anything, or I hate you, or whatever. And they're like, people are soft. Like you were saying, a lot of people have found in these first world countries, a lot of people are so soft. They can't take a hit. They can't really take an insult or just move on. Leave the person. Yeah, he's miserable. Clearly, something's not going well for him. Just leave it. You don't even need to waste your precious time on it. Go work. You know, it's one of those things. Like and people that take advice from losers. You're like, if no, I did this because my friend said that I should do this. I didn't pursue my dream because too many people told me I couldn't do it. Okay, who are those people? Are they millionaires? Are they super successful? Do they seem happy? Do they seem fulfilled? Are they hungry? Are they have better habits than you? Do they train harder than you? And then the answers are no. It's like, why would you follow that advice?
Yeah.
Why would you have a podcast and hire someone to tell you about a podcast that hasn't done the work of a podcast? That sounds stupid, right? Why would you hire a personal training that is fat, that is overweight? That sounds stupid, right? It's the same thing. Why would you go to someone talking about your dream with someone that has no dreams or is not working for anything in even close to what you want to achieve?
Basing your decision off their opinion. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's stupid. It's silly. Like that. I don't talk about all this stuff with anyone. In fact, I don't have many friends these days. I used to be a person that used to make friends with everyone. I can tell you, I know a lot of people. I meet a lot of people. I do my best to network and all these things, but I don't have that many friends. And the people that are in my life right now, I've crafted my life so carefully. You need to be so diligent with everything around you, with your environment, with the people you let in. This is all your space, your energy, what you consume, what you listen to, the kind of conversations that you have. Everything has to be in line with where you want to go. Otherwise, you're gonna get derailed. Otherwise, you're gonna get distracted. Otherwise, you're gonna get stopped. It's gonna happen,
and it's gonna takes the wind out of your sails. Like, and it happens so easily too. Like, that's why you do have to be so careful. Like, because if something if you got a friend or somebody that's messing with your vibe, your vibes, like, it takes so long to build your vibe up, and it was so easy to get it messed with, destroyed or just totally, unstable. And it's just it's so important. Like, and same here, like, well, over the years, your friend groups change so much because you change so much, and you start to, position yourself and attract people or intentionally, you know, go over here because here is not serving you any longer. You know, these people or this person or this job or this relationship or whatever, you know, you got to, and that, like what you're saying, you know, that's the scary part. It's like letting go of all this shit that you're like, is part of your identity, but you know that like your real identity still exists. Like the potential is still over here and you want to keep pursuing that. Don't be stuck here. And it's this, it is a constant process of going, fuck,
it's
the
ectasis. It's the shedding of the lobster skin.
Exactly.
It's the changing. Right. It's the changing. Well, Mari, I was saying this to Mari. Oh, we were talking about something like this the other day, Mari, and she said, oh, it's called like the changing of the table. You know, you're stepping up from one table and you want to go and sit at another table. Yeah. So
growing up.
It's the gap. Once you start working so hard on yourself, once you start improving yourself, because there's also this, the other fun thing about life. There's no limits. I will never get to a place where I'm the fittest I can be. I'm the smartest I can be. I have all the wisdom in the world. I have all the money in the world. It's an infinite game. Yeah. There's no limits. So there's always a next mountain to climb. You climb to the top and you're like, oh, that was so hard. Oh, that's the next peak. You know, that I'm set on my journey again. So, and that's how I am. That's how you can maximize life. Because whoever gets to the top of a mountain, they're like, oh, I'm done. I'm camping here. I'm telling you, your life is going to be boring as fuck. It's going to be shit. That's it. Because there's no fun in that. The fun of life is always looking forward to a next conquest. You have to have some sort of small balance, because I don't even like saying that you need balance if you want to be an overachiever, because any overachiever doesn't have balance in their life. They're completely unbalanced.
We've heard that a few times too, haven't we?
I've never been called anything apart from balanced.
You know, like you have to. I work insane hours. I stay home working in my desk or whatever, and in insane amount of hours every week. Why? Because I'm set to conquest. I'm here to accomplish things that are much bigger than me. If I don't do this, somebody else is gonna get there. You know, so that's how it works. So you have to be very careful with the people you let around you, the kind of conversations, the kind of things that you listen to. You know, like how do you spend your time? How do you everything makes a difference. And once you start improving yourself, you start creating the gap between you and people around you. And eventually what happens is the gap gets to a point where it's so far ahead that you have nothing to relate with those people other than sharing memories. And yet when I see people from my past that, we got to share moments together, whatever, we'll have a laugh, it'll be fun, it'll feel good, you'll remember everything. You're like, oh, true, I didn't remember that happened.
Good times, yeah.
Next day, I'm back to work.
Yep.
I don't live in there. That's it. That's it. And
we know how that is.
Unfortunately, I can't have you in my life. The gap is too big. I'm too far ahead.
Yeah, it's not even really a question. You just do other things.
And mind you, that doesn't mean that you have to treat them like they're less than you. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that my friends that they want a normal life or whatever, they want to just get married, have a 9-to-5 and have a kid, whatever, go to church, that's a bad life. I'm just saying that's not for me. And I'm saying there's a lot of people out there that they're not okay with that life. They just don't do something about it. That's it.
Yeah.
So my thing is, if you're happy with it, man, if you're killing it at your job, if you're stoked with the person you're sharing your life with, if you're being a great friend, you're fulfilled with your life in general, awesome. Keep doing that. If you're whining, if you're complaining, then fucking take some action. Have the courage to face whatever it needs to be changed.
And if you need a video, you call Vibes Creative.
That's it, man. I always feel so pumped after talking to Nelson. It gets me so fired up.
I hope it is. I hope it does. Yeah,
definitely.
Well, that's definitely what we value about your service, but like a working relationship.
Well, you as a person, really, it's like
you don't just bring to the table like the video or the podcast production or whatever. It's like strategy. It's like coaching. It's like raising the bar and getting there, working out how to get there together. And that's really what will or is separating you from the rest of the, you know, the other Nelsons without the hats.
And when you realize nobody's going to save you. You were saying, you know, this is scary and all these things, and you're like, shit, like no one's coming. Nobody's going to save you. When you're being an entrepreneur, when you're being a business owner, you have to be your own hero. And becoming a hero and accomplishing whatever you're set to accomplish, it requires a plan. It requires strategy. I thought for a long time, I'm going to be so good at making videos that everyone's going to come to me for videos. And, you know, I'm going to be so well known, but that's very difficult to accomplish. You're better off having a plan in place of how are you going to make that happen, not letting it in the hands of life. Because life, that as it's like a box everyone knows, has different plans. So life might not be playing on your court. So you better have a plan. And for the longest time, I was like, I'm going to be a millionaire by just making videos and people coming to me, until I realized this is not happening. I'm not getting there any quicker. I need to have a plan of how am I going to be rich? How am I going to become a millionaire? You know, and I'm talking about this because that's my next big move. First, it was getting my residence. That's out of the way. Now it's like, okay, I want to be a millionaire now. That's my journey right now. And just like the residence, it's going to happen. That's it.
I believe it's going to happen.
Yeah, it will.
It's going to happen.
And like I said, a lot of people will be surprised eventually. People that maybe know me will be like, oh, how do you get there? Man, I've been saying this for many years.
I'm not going to be surprised.
You know, like to me, it's just going to be another Tuesday. Yeah, like, yeah, awesome. Okay, what's the next mountain to climb?
So what does that look like for Vibes Creative, you know, in terms of your vision with the business itself? Do you see yourself growing it into like a team? Is there like, what are you wanting to be known for? Is it for video? Like, I know you're a craftsman and you're very much about high quality cinematography and really amazing storytelling. You know, what does that look like in, you know, by the time you're 35?
At Vibes Creative, we exist to tell exceptional stories. And the mission is to support businesses, individuals in translating their unique vibe into extraordinary films. That's how we plan to accomplish that. I see Vibes Creative as one of the biggest video production businesses that there is. It's a team of people that are committed to share unique stories, exceptional stories in a way that is very compelling and impacting and engaging, and that helps. The reason I call it Vibes Creative is because I always talk about the good vibes, like we were talking about that. I genuinely believe that wherever you go, you're carrying a vibe. That it has happened to everyone, that you come to a place and there's someone that has a bad energy with them and you can feel it almost from a mile away. And they come and they're just whining, complaining, and it's like a sickness. That energy goes to you. And then you're like, oh, I feel like complaining too. And I feel like, you know, like the life is shit and things are not moving. And yeah, this food is taking too long and silly stuff. How different it is when someone comes and is super hype and is super all like go-getter and it's like, I can accomplish anything. There's no limits and all stuff. How different is that?
Yeah.
How good do you feel after that, right?
Yeah.
It's also contagious.
That's a
the
decision.
self-talk. You need a good self-talk.
Yeah, and that's a decision you make. I genuinely believe that's a decision you make every day. You either choose to be good vibes and, you know, be uplift and be, you know, not letting anything in the world to defeat you. I saw your note on the toilet. You have a note for yourself on the toilet, and which basically says that you're worthy, you are a hard worker, that you can do anything you want, right? So it's the same thing. It's reminding every day, it's having that little note and that little reminder that you can be good vibes regardless of what happens, because guess what? Bad things are going to happen every day and you have virtual or no control of it. So just choose to deal with it and come out victorious regardless of what are the circumstances. You know, I feel unbeatable. That's how I feel since the past, especially the past year. I've worked so hard on my mindset, on my physical capabilities, and my skill, on my craft and all this stuff, that I'm just like, man, it's all timing at this stage. I'm ready for anything. It's literally just timing. That's it. And I've been getting, the business Vibe Security has been getting a lot of momentum in the past months. And when you get momentum is the most powerful energy in the world. Once you get momentum, you need to keep going. It's like when you surf. When you surf, you paddle. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna suck. You're gonna swallow some water. You're gonna have to duck dive under waves. You might get dragged and all this stuff. But eventually, you will get to the lineup, and things will start getting a little bit better. You start getting a better position for the waves and all this stuff. But there's more people in the lineup. You're not the only one, and you need to give priority to people. So, and that to me, it's almost the same as life. Sometimes it's just not your time. You might be prepared, you're ready, but it's somebody else's time, and you need to let it go. Because it never does good to get in front of someone on the wave. They will get mad at you. You will make an enemy. And you're not going to enjoy that wave anyways. It's the same with business. You don't want to, mess with somebody else's dreams and all this stuff. Focus on you. Eventually, you will get a wave. Because guess what? If that person gets the wave and the next one, eventually you'll be the only one in the line. You're up. That's it. The wave is coming. Once you get the wave, a lot of people, and this happened to me in the past, and that's why I'm not letting the ball drop anymore. Because I got to a point where I had some success with my social media, had some viral videos going on, all this stuff, a bunch of new followers, and guess what? I got complacent. I was like, I got too in the moment. I was too like, oh shit, finally the moment arrived and all this stuff. I was so hyped, and I completely derailed. I started focusing on the wrong things. So I was like, that's it. We made it. That's it. Everything's just going to keep going. Guess what? The wave just lasts for a bit. That's it. Then you have to paddle back again. So that Vibe Security has gotten a lot of momentum in the past months. And man, I'm just riding the wave as long as I can, because eventually it will drop and you will have to paddle back. Maybe sometimes you ride a wave, and guess what? The next wave comes faster because now you're better. Now you have experience behind. So you know that if I paddle that way, it's going to take me longer than paddling this way. And then you can maneuver better to position yourself in a better spot to get the wave, ahead of other people. If you go surfing, do you guys surf?
I don't, but Tom does.
If you surf.
Oh yeah, a little bit. A dabble.
She's rode surf boats. It's the same,
body surfing.
Similar stuff.
Surf boats.
If you go surfing, guess what? You see the same 5 dudes getting the most waves all day. Yeah. You're like, how does he get the wave again? And then he goes and he paddles next to you. And you're like, no, this time I will get the... He goes again and again. Why? Because they're experienced enough to know where to position themselves. It's the same with business.
Not getting tired. They're using, all the little intricacies to actually
20%.
Leverage themselves. Yeah.
Managing your energy is everything as well. Knowing how long can you go, because that's very different for everyone. I'm still trying to figure out how long do I actually do deep work. Because you can wake up at 5, you can get your 8 hours sleep and work all day and whatever. But how many hours were actually deep that you got things accomplished, because you muck around. Sometimes you need a little break. Sometimes, you need to cook, you need to wash, whatever it is. So I'm still...
And those in-between moments can be some of the most valuable parts.
Exactly.
Where you actually reflect on work is, especially if you are doing deep work, if it's like, working in something, editing a video for us, working on a design or something, and you just, get so absorbed in it. But then when you walk away and you take that little break, it's like, something, that's when the neurons align. Yeah. Changing tasks. Yeah. You will be doing the dishes or something and you're like, oh, Rick's in the shower. You're always having shower thoughts, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And going back to your question, because I haven't forgot. I have a good memory. So going back to the question of what are you said to accomplish and all this stuff. I want to take Vibe Security to the spot where it's a team of people that believe on the mission, and we're so passionate about telling stories that we're helping everyone translate the unique thing that they do. I don't care if you're, you know, a tables business, if you have a podcast, whatever it is, as long as you're passionate about it, we can help you translate that into visuals for everyone else. Because the vision we have is that we envision a world in which everyone's passion has a visual voice. That's what I wrote about it. And basically, through my skill, I can show people what you are passionate about. Because sometimes it's very difficult to articulate for people. Like, I'm passionate about coasters, you know, and someone sees a coaster and they're like, why are you so passionate about that? That seems so silly or so simple. I can tell you through my skill, I can make that coaster look the most interesting skill on the planet. You know, so that's what we set to accomplish, and eventually work with brands at top level brands, you know, that whether it's Nike, whether it's Apple, whatever it is, that's Vibes Creative. But I want to build it to a place where I'm just making sure that everything has the seal of Vibes Creative, that everything is up to the standard. I'm hoping that this is the year. If everything keeps going to the space, it seems like this year I will need to start putting together a team.
You're going to need to rally all those other Nelsons that are out there.
I already have someone on the lookout. And you know, that's one of the things I have learned, because I've been, even though it's not right now the time, but it's going to be very soon that I need to bring help. I'm already starting the game. How do you hire someone? Why do you need to look for someone you need to be prepared, because that's why when you have a clear vision of what's going to happen, you can strategize, you can make a plan to get there. So now I know, okay, I need to start getting help and get people on board. How am I going to spot those people? What do I need to look for in those people? You know, I'm learning about everyone I could, and I ask people. I ask you. You remember? I asked you, like, hey, have you worked with other people? What was your experience on all this stuff? Just like that, I've been asking every other entrepreneur, business owner that I know that has hired someone. I've been listening to ultra successful people. What do you need to look? And the biggest thing is finding, you said it, Nelsons. Basically, what you said is finding potential. People that have the potential to be, you know, whatever is going to fit well within the team.
I think the values is a really important one. You know, like you've mentioned, like it's so impressive that you've got that purpose, mission, vision, and it's so on point, because a lot of the time that gets done, you know, not in the right way, or the things get used interchangeably, and you've really nailed it there. And so I think, you know, you've got that clarity there, and then, you know, bringing people on, I think, as opposed to hiring people around their skill set, because, you know, you can always learn the skills or build people up, but it's around the value, and it sounds like you have a lot of value around the quality of the work, you know, and what you're producing, the relationships that you have with people, how you interact with others. And have you articulated your values at all and put them down?
Guess why I have written down all these things that now are so easy for me to express to other people? After your podcast.
Oh, wow.
After you guys talk about purpose. If you haven't listened to a podcast, you should. I'm not joking. When I told you guys, I've told you a couple times that I think this platform you guys have and the knowledge you guys have are very valuable. And anyone, if you're listening to this point, because it's been a long conversation, I'm sorry I've been talking a lot, but I'm hoping to create an impact for anyone. That's my mission coming here, you know, making an impact for anyone listening to this, because I know there are people that just like me, they just needed someone to give them a push, or someone that, you know, will tell you anything is fucking possible. You know, just put the work and believe in what you're doing and surround yourself with the right people and all these things, and it will happen.
We've got it on the wall somewhere.
What's
Anything
that?
Possible. Where is it?
Anything possible. It's a flying pig up there.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So anything's possible. You set the ceiling. I told someone recently, like, they were like, oh, like you said, so I've been putting like heavy deadlines with myself and the work I do. You know, I try, when you guys need an episode, I try to deliver as quick as I can, you know, and as soon as I get another job, I try to deliver as quick as I can and all this stuff. even though in my terms and conditions, I have that for most jobs, it will take up to 2 weeks. Sometimes it can be more depending on what exactly it is and the scale of the job. Even though I have those conditions, I could be lazy and I could be, no, I'll get it done, but when the time's come, I still try to get it done as quickly as I can. Why? Because I wanted my clients to know that they can count on me, that I'm responsible, that I deliver when I said I'm going to deliver. Have I missed any deadline that I told you? When I tell you I'll deliver something, I deliver.
I know you will.
This week, I told you I will deliver tonight. I didn't deliver most of it. I delivered most of it. But next morning, I told you, next morning you'll have everything. Next morning, you had everything. So what am I doing here? I'm building a reputation, not just with my client, but with myself. Because the biggest thing is building a reputation with yourself, that you are a person that accomplished everything they said they're going to accomplish.
Yeah.
That's what most people don't accomplish, whatever they want to get in life, because they don't have a reputation with themselves. They don't believe they can do it. Someone told me in the past days, like, I listen to you and I'm like, why are you so certain that you accomplish all these things? And I know you will. That's the thing. I believe you that you will do it, but I can't do that for myself. And I don't feel like I can do, I'm not in that mindset yet. Guess what? I built a reputation with you, because with that person as well, every time I had told her I will do something, I do it. So now if I tell her I'm gonna literally swim tomorrow to Venezuela, she will believe it, because I built a reputation that I'm a person that says what he does and does what he says.
Yeah.
And in my head, there's literally nothing I cannot do. And I wasn't born like this. I wasn't thinking like this 6 years ago. I wasn't thinking like this 3 years ago. But I have built a reputation with myself that when I say I'm going to do something, I just do it. That's it. When I make the decision, okay, I'm going to be in shape. I'm going to learn how to strike. I'm going to, become a millionaire. I'm doing it. I'm putting the work. That's it. The decision is made. That's why I'm very careful with what I say I'm going to do, because once I say it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
That's it. There's no turning back. I might fail. I might not get it right on the first go. I might give something that is not completed. But guess what? Because this is the other thing. This person as well told me, I think you're setting too many unrealistic expectations with the clients. So eventually you will let someone down, or you will let yourself down, or whatever it is. And I said, it's not that it's unrealistic. It's that I need a better system to make sure all these deadlines are fulfilled. I'm sure I can deliver every job as quick as I can, whether it's a week or whatever it is, if I build the right team. So that's what is the next step for Vice Creative, making sure I have a system to fulfill the deadlines that I have with myself. Because to me, in the end, it's about everything translating to every other aspect of my life. If I fail at delivering something when I said I was going to do it, that hurts me. If I tell someone I'm going to deliver X job tomorrow and I don't do it, I'm going to beat myself up. I'm going to be like, you said you were going to do it. You didn't do it. So you clearly did something wrong during the day that you couldn't accomplish that thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, man. Build a reputation with yourself. And guess what? A lot of things are going to happen after that. And eventually you might need investors. You might need, someone that supports you in something. You might need a relationship or something. Do you think someone if someone that is lazy, has a reputation of being lazy with you, comes to you and he's like, hey, mate, I have this business idea. Are you going to even waste your time on supporting the idea? Or if they say, I just need you to borrow some money, and I want to get you as an investor, are you even going to consider that? No, because that guy has a lazy reputation with yourself. So it's the same thing for you. I have a reputation with myself that I'm unbeatable. I do what I say I'm going to do. And that translates to my clients, to people around me. And man, that, like I said, there's no ceiling. I told this person, like, you cannot tell me something is not possible. Like, as long as I have my two hands, my will, this courage that I have that I keep feeding, because that's the other thing. Some days you wake up and you feel like shit. You don't feel like doing anything. I'm not excited every day to make videos. Sometimes I have to do the tedious stuff. But guess what? I'll get it done. Because I know it's just a stepping stone and it needs to be done. It's part of the process. People think that when you start pursuing your passion, life is pink and rainbows. Everything is so good. Everything is easy. No, when you decide to pursue your passion, life is going to get hard, buddy. And guess what? You now don't have the salary. That thing that it's a wonderful trap for people to have a salary. Having a job is the easiest thing on the planet. You show up, you do whatever is required from your job or boss or business to do, and that's it. You're gonna get paid.
It's like you just need to do the bare minimum as well to just pass the point of not getting fired, and you're good to go.
And that's it. You literally show up,
and you get paid on time. Sure, you should.
They're not gonna fail to pay you. Show up, do the job, whatever they require you to do. Be decently nice. That's it. You go home and you're getting money. When you decide to pursue your passion and be your own boss and have a business and be an entrepreneur, guess what? I don't know how much money I'm going to make next month, next week. I don't know if I'm going to have money to pay my living, rent, all these things. Things change so rapidly. But also, don't think about the bad side, because it's so easy to see, like, I don't know if I'm going to have money next month. But I also don't know if I'm going to make $100,000 next month.
Yeah,
it's equivalent. We like, as humans, we love going to the dark side. We love thinking in the negative. We love underestimating. We love going to, what if things go wrong? What if I pursue my passion and nobody cares and I don't accomplish anything and I don't make money and all this stuff? What if you do? What if you go pursue your passion and you make a living and you get paid for it and you build something you're proud of and you're fulfilled with life and you change people's lives and you live a great life because you decided to pursue your passion? That's what my head is at. What if? What if things go well? It might not, but I will deal with it. When you start framing everything with that lens, of positivity, it's like the things that you can accomplish are unfathomable. Yes.
Unfathomable?
Yes.
Fathomable.
Forgive my
Fathomable.
spelling.
No, you're doing great. I can't believe you couldn't speak English 6 years ago.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
And and the thing is as well, it's like there's not one thing that's going to make this all the difference anyway. It's like constant solutions you have to constantly be finding, right? It's a mindset change. It's like every decision you start making needs to be in line with the solution rather than the problem that could happen. And that's all it really is at the end of the day, is just the mindset. How you're going to think about something shapes the whole way that you perceive reality, and then that shifts the way that the things that start happening to you, because you're thinking, if you're blind to the solution and you want to focus on the problem, the solution is right there as well, but you're just not even seeing it. And it's a tricky process. Again, like you get kind of programmed to not look, these sort of, it's almost like a survival mechanism in a way, like in terms of finding solutions to something. Because it's like, if you want to keep living, what's the solution? Come up with something, create, you're a human being, like make something happen to shift the situation and get yourself into a position where you can actually make another move, it's a full on process. Like,
and you nailed it right there. Your program. Because everything has programmed you to be the person that you are right now. But guess what? You can reprogram yourself. You can take full charge of your brain, of the things you consume, of the people you surround yourself with, and what kind of job you do, and how much money you make. You can take control of all those things. There's nothing stopping you. Yeah. I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight, because becoming the person that I am today has taken me 29 years, and it has been a lot of work. It's been a lot of building. And then you have, that's not what I was meant to build. You have to scrap that and start again. But if you don't give up, eventually you will get somewhere that you're proud of, somewhere that you're happy. Yeah, this is the path that I need to be going. And I think this is the right one. We'll see. But yeah, like, man, it's compounding. as well. Like you said, you know, it's little things. Little things makes difference. That's why I'm very careful in my life in general, you know, and with details and stuff like that. And that comes from dentistry too, because decay and getting a tooth pain, guess what? That didn't happen overnight. That doesn't happen overnight. That happens over months. That, you know, you have a bacteria, you didn't have the good habits, the good cleaning in between your teeth. Maybe you weren't flossing and all this shit. And eventually you get a decay that is deep enough that gets to the nerve. And that's when it hurts. That's when there's no way back. Now you need to get a root canal done. It's going to cost you money. It's going to be painful. It's going to be a bad experience, all this stuff. Why do you let it get to that place when you could have just been flossing? It's the same thing with anything in life. Like, I'm very careful to, you know, and like I said, I'm not perfect. I'm far from it. I'm continually working. There are things that I'm able to spot more, because the more you work on yourself, the better awareness you have. So I know some of the things that I fail sometimes to do. You know, I'm weak with sweets. I might not smoke or other stuff, but I love a sweet thing. And if I have had moments in the past where just another waffle, you know, just another thing. Yeah. It was Nutella at some stage as well and all this stuff. And eventually I was doing it every day. You know, and eventually I was doing it every day. You need to have the awareness to catch yourself when you're doing something that is hurting you, you know, and be able to make the right decision. I don't want to quit sweets. If I could eat everyday sweets, I will do it. But I know it's not doing me any good. It's not advancing me to where I want to get. So you have to be able to make the hard decisions, because nobody's going to do them for you. You know, same with business and same with anything in life.
11th episode, first episode with our guest, Nelson from Vibes Creative. If you want to find out more about Vibes, where do we send people?
Yeah, so we're on Instagram at Vibes Creative with Z, VIBEZ Creative. Same thing for the webpage, www.vibescreative.com. I'm on Instagram at Nelfalife, NELFE Life. Like my hope with these things, and like I said, I know I can get very passionate about all these things and talk a lot breaking down, but I want people to understand, you know, like why do I think this way? Why am I set to accomplish things? Because if I tell you the whole story, you will realize, like, okay, this guy is nothing special. This guy didn't, you know, it's not that different than me. He had probably, if you're listening to this and you were born in Australia, I tell you, you had a better head start than me. That's a guaranteed already. You know, so if I can make it and I can get to this mindset, and I will become a millionaire, like remember this I'll have a massive platform and all this stuff. So you will see me around. It's like, you will know it's no accident. There's nothing happens by accident. You need to have a plan. You need to implement it. You need to be very careful with your environment and how you craft your surrounding and your life to get to the place you want to go. A boat that sets on a mission to find land might get lost on sea. If you know the destination, if you know where you want to get, you can make different decisions along the way to get to the land and the island you're looking at. But if you don't know where you want to go, you're just gonna get lost. You know, you're gonna land somewhere else. So be very clear with your vision and where you're set to accomplish. Work on yourself. I always tell people, start with physical stuff. I think when you start with building discipline and training first, you're gonna feel a lot better about yourself. You're gonna build confidence. Do martial arts. I highly recommend everyone to do martial arts.
Same here. Love it.
I swear.
I was trying to convince everyone.
I convinced somebody last night to start. She said she's going to come to the gym. I'm like, all right, let's go. You won't regret it, because that's what I say. I'm with you.
I think everyone should experience what martial arts are. First, like, even if you think like, oh, I don't want to do this long term, at least you're going to get some learning on how to defend yourself or what to do in a situation that is maybe not a good situation that you're in. Because unfortunately, sometimes it's not what you want. It's the wrong place at the wrong time. That happens. So martial arts are a great way. That I could talk all day about martial arts, of how much
we'll have to do a part 2 on martial arts.
But just start doing something. I highly recommend doing jiu-jitsu. I think it's the best martial art to get started. Eventually learn as well how to strike and all these things. But martial arts will give you a tough mindset, will help you be relaxed under extreme pressure. If you can deal with a guy choking you, I'm sure you can deal with a client that is being picky or annoying or something not going right with your business. Keep getting smarter. Work on yourself. That's the single best investment you can do, working on yourself. That's the investment that will give you the most return over years. Over your lifetime, what's going to make me a millionaire is not being able to make pretty videos or high-end videos or anything like that. It's Nelson. Nelson is what's gonna make me a millionaire. Yeah. So
in saying that, having the coaches or people to help guide you on that journey too.
Mentors
that you invest in, whether it's in your business or in your personal life, like that is so, that's it. It's like, instead of investing in a holiday or something, which is also important too, but like invest in someone that's going to give you that's going to also help you get to the place that you're wanting to get and help you make that leap and do that with their experience. That's what they do for their, that's what they're passionate about. So that's also very, super relevant in terms of self-work. And if you're working on your business and you want to take things to the next level with video, you know who to call now too, right? So.
Only if you want the best of the best. That's right.
And but only bring the good vibes.
And there's so much to say about that in general. But man, my hope is that there will be someone listening to this conversation that this might be a pivotal moment in their life, because they will realize a lot of things that are just bullshit. Like it's just part of the system that they get you and they program you to be average and all these things. You can choose to literally escape the system. I'm doing it. I'm making a living with my passion. And I cannot tell you how many people told me that I was being stupid, that I should have been a dentist, that dentist is going to make me more money, and that you should do this because people like this. And I'm telling you, I'm living in a dream. I'm like, I swear, the people I've been able to meet, the stuff that I've been able to accomplish, the money I've been able to make, everything has been outside I could ever imagine. And even, I was looking at some financials and stuff from the past year and all this stuff, and it's nothing compared to where I want to get. But I made that for myself. I made that job for me. Nobody made that for me. I went out and I hunted and I gathered and I did all the hard work to get there. There's something very special about being able to do something that you've been working so hard to be good at and getting compensated for it. Yeah. So whatever you do, no matter how weird is your thing, because I can assure you another thing, there's a market for anything. For coasters, for videos, for branding, for design, for lobsters. There's literally a market for anything. So find your market. And if you think like, I just don't know what I'm passionate about, that's the classic excuse a lot of people love to use. I'm telling you, you just haven't discovered yet. When you guys talk about purpose, just closing with that I've mentioned to you, I knew what I wanted to do. I knew it. I knew what's the vision and all these things. I wasn't able to articulate it clearly. And you guys, and that's why I've told you guys many times now. I think this podcast will be very valuable to a lot of people. Not right now, because we the time is just not right. That's it. We're just working, putting the foundation and everything. Eventually we'll get there. As long as we don't stop, we'll get there. But you guys have so much value to provide to people. And I'm not joking. I have no need to say this. And I've told you many times, the Sabbaticals podcast is a great podcast. The Purpose podcast is a great podcast. There's so many episodes that you can get so much value out of the things, especially if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a creative person or you have a business. You should listen to these guys because they know what they're doing and they have a lot of nuggets that they can provide. The Purpose one was changing for me. I was like, oh, that's right. I haven't articulated that. I need to be clear with that for other people because I know what it is. But I need to put it on paper for people to understand. And whoever is coming on the team needs to clearly understand what we're doing here, what we're trying to accomplish. So the big thing, have a clear purpose, mission, vision, you know, and whatever other recommendation you guys have, I will take because I believe you. It makes such a big difference when you sit on the table and you're clearly able to articulate what's your purpose? What are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, instead of going like, well, look, I'm passionate about this. No, this is exactly what I do. And this is how I can help you. You know, like I said, there's so much value here. And I think you guys, please keep going. Like I told you, and I'm happy that I'm able to be working with you guys. Let's see.
You take our recommendation and we take yours. So, you know, whatever you say, we do too. So
that's it, coach.
That's it.
Yeah. And again, reputation. I built a reputation with both of you to being like, oh, okay, when he says we need to improve X or Y from the podcast, so this is it. Everything
we
gets
do it
to
straight away, don't we?
Yeah.
We get onto it.
I'm very proud of you guys, and I'm very excited to see where this podcast goes because I'm telling you, there's nothing to lose here. There's absolutely nothing to lose here. Even if no one listens to this podcast, you will develop better conversation skills. You will understand how to have a better conversation with another human. You will understand how to deal with a guest and get the best out of someone that you're meeting maybe for a few seconds. You know, so you will learn from other people. You will learn from both of you. Because even though you think you know each other so well, I'm telling you, you will learn more about each other when you have conversations with no distractions. Nowadays, we have so many things distracting us. It's very rare that we are talking for almost 2 hours with no distractions.
Well, it's 2 hours.
No phones or anything. You know, so that's very scarce these days. So please keep doing the podcast because I'm very excited to see where you guys get to it with it.
We will. And I'm looking forward to whenever you're like, I don't know what episode it will be, but you'll be back on the show at some stage and we'll be talking, and it'll be amazing to see where we've come from now for all of us to wherever that next episode
you see,
is.
that's going to be very exciting because
Yes.
it's like, you remember when we talked about all this stuff? This is how
Episode
much
11.
Yeah.
All right. What are we at now, you know, and where are we at with our lives and our businesses and you know, our dreams. So
Exactly right.
looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nelson.
My pleasure.
Thanks, Nelson.
Us.
Us, yes. So, wow, okay, what an episode, almost 2 hours. Thanks for listening, for all those who've been tuning in. Design on Purpose, you can, I don't know where you're watching it right now, but it's available on YouTube, on Spotify. Check us out on TikTok at Design on Purpose. Check us out on Instagram at Design on Purpose, to where we share all the reels, the best of little clips of each episode, all the little golden nuggets, little gems. And we also are doing, as Wordplay, where we're doing an open studio every Friday morning, 9 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on LinkedIn, where we go live and give people the opportunity to ask us any questions they may have around business or branding or life in general. We also, you can come on the show as a guest as well, like we did this morning with Alyssa, and go deeper on your business and have a conversation around that and kind of get to the, you know, get some insights around the challenges that you're facing. That's Friday mornings. What else is there, Rix?
We've got the Telegram. So any bit of content that we've been creating, we've just been like posting on the Telegram thread, so you can kind of see it all synced there.
Yep. So Telegram, Wordplay Studio, Instagram, Wordplay Studio, LinkedIn, Wordplay Studio. And also we're going to be posting on Wordplay Studio's YouTube again too, with the LinkedIn lives, won't we? All the questions. So content. We're going for it. Anyway, that's it. Thank you for listening to another episode of Design on Purpose. Catch you next time.
You.